yeah, so like this is the guide. I had originally like built out the nest just because like I was spending like so much time on a day to day doing things that I just didn't think I should be doing, or I knew it could be automated. And like one of the big things there was just like prepping for calls and just like remembering context and transferring context through the company of like something we learn about a company on like let's say an intro call or also a demo call. Me as like once they close and I'm like a few weeks later into calling with them, I want a simple way to be able to find that out without needing to bug some of my coworkers. As well as like just for me, if I have 8 calls with somebody, I know they mentioned price sensitivity once. I want to be able to like just easily get that answer without having to copy and paste 8 transcripts in a Claude and then be able to prompt it. That's basically why I built this, and honestly, it saved me a lot of time. Um, but yeah, this is literally everything. I'm not like an NNN YouTuber by any means, or NNN is just like one of the things here as well as it's built on Agno. Um, but yeah, so I'm just gonna like try to speed run through it. But yeah, okay, cool. So like here's like main things that you're gonna need are like overview of like what I used and why. Um, here's all like the resources that you'll need. Um, and I'm kind of assuming you're like mildly technical for context. But yeah, so like we'll get right into it. First, you're gonna need a database to store your transcripts. So go to Supabase, create an account, super easy. And then once you're there, this is where you're gonna be after. Is like there's no tables in your database and you want to populate it. So you go to SQL editor, cool, copy and paste what I just gave you, cool, cool. Now this is here. Right now it's empty because there's nothing in here. So this is the first one. You have the database set up, and then the next thing you want to do is you want to have your call recorder, which is going to be Circleback, and you need to have after a call ends, send transcript to database. Cool. So you're going to go to Circleback, make an account, like free for 14 days. Everyone's probably using a note taker. So then the big thing is just like which one, and I like Circleback. There's other ones that have webhooks, but this is how I do it in Circleback. So you create an automation, choose after every meeting, send a webhook request. Only thing that you want to do is send a transcript, and then what you're going to do from here. Actually, I'm going to pause a second. Yeah, only thing you want to do is send a transcript. Cool. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go over to N8N, and I made a template version of the N8N that you could just of my N8N flow that you could just import, and then just like add in your custom variables. So basically, this was within the GitHub repo that you're going to clone a little bit later. That's linked, so you could just download the file from GitHub and then upload it here. Cool, super simple N8N flow. Go to this webhook. You're going to take your production URL here that you have. You're going to throw it in there. Cool. You could send a webhook request just to be able to see it go through. Small thing. You're going to want to just record a very basic meeting if you don't have one already, just to be able to test to make sure that it goes through. Um, so yeah, cool. Let me go back to automations. I got to create, next, send webhook, add, only transcript. Cool, 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 cool. So now you're here. This you shouldn't see that. I did this a couple times that I tested it. That's why it's over there. But you want to put it as active. Cool, 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 cool. And now when you see, I'll send a webhook request, um, and this should go through. Yeah, you just saw this go through. Cool. So this sent the data from like your recent call, which is just like basic information about the call as well as the transcript attached to N8N. And N8N is going to be the linker that we have between Circleback, N8N, and then Supabase. So yeah, debug and editor, cool. Yeah, so like here you can see all the information that was sent from that meeting. Um, this code block pretty much just interprets all of that and like splices it into like the fields that we're going to want to populate in Supabase. So one of the things that I do is I want to store the point of contact of the person that was on the call. So it's basically just like who on the call has an orinomiagents.com email address. And then like you'll just put that in with like whatever your domain is, right? Um, and then yeah, just orgamiagents.com. Cool, 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 cool. So that's all. I'm gonna execute this because now it's just gonna be a little bit different. And now, cool. So now you can see this code block is like correctly slicing it up into the fields that you're gonna want. Then you go over here, and this is where we're actually gonna plug in your like keys that allow you to even get into Supabase. Also, like I'm explaining this to myself a year ago, so if I'm like over explaining terms, it's because I'm like I didn't know any of this a year ago, so I'm just assuming that's who's watching. Um, cool. So then the things that you're going to want to do here is you want to go to API docs, um, not API docs, project settings, yeah, data API. Grab this, throw this here, and that basically is like, okay, this is the project that we want to send it over to. Um, and then you're going to go to API keys, take this public one, and also like I'm going to change all these API keys like in a minute. But yeah, you just like populate that with yours. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. And I believe actually we changed this to company domain. Actually, no, this is chill. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Execute that step. That could not find column. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was right. Okay. Company domain. Because in our Supabase database, we have a company domain thing. Yep, yep, my bad. Um, delete that. Cool. Now this should work. Cool. Um, go over here to this transcripts, and then now we can see our end-to-end flow worked of like sending that initial webhook and the payload, which just means like all the data that was attached to it, to our Supabase. And like here you can see the transcript is just something like me just talking. When it was created, it attaches the ID that's in Circleback. Assuming like this was a call with somebody that had an origamiagents.com email address in it, it would say like Austin or Eric Bauer or one of our team members. So for the sake of like this, we could just put Austin Kennedy, and then let's say like it was a call with Origami Agents as the client too. But usually this would be like, let's say like if I had a call with InstaFleet, then this would come back with instafleet.co because the guest was Andrew from InstaFleet. But let me see, I'm gonna change it to origamiagents.com. Cool. So now like you have the system set up so that after every call, it's going to be populated in this database. And then this database is what we're going to use because the agent's then going to like pull upon it to be able to pull like get a lot of data. Cool, 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 cool. So the next thing from here, now that we have this set up, is yep, done that. Next thing, we're going to want to open this new repo. Cool. And then basically just like go to your directory, open like a new folder, name it coding, make another new folder, name it like, I don't know, transcript agent. And then from there, just open this up, take this, get a clone. This is going to clone my repo that I made that's like publicly shared. Um, and this is where you also get like the end template, by the way, that we were using. Cool. Now, once you're in here, you're going to want to go into the actual repo. And then first you're going to execute. Oh, okay. I believe I'll have to specify which version of Python I'm using. Cool. And then that's going to start the virtual environment. And then from there, we'll just copy and paste this over. The way that you'd be able to find this is just by checking what version of Python is on your computer. And then once you're here, run the correct directory. Oops. Yeah, that's on me. Pip install requirements.txt. And that, yeah, I already have everything installed, so this would install everything for you. And then the next thing we're gonna do is go over here, new file. You're gonna want to create your environmental variables. And I'm actually just gonna like use mine, but then I'm gonna change them immediately after. So then just so that like I can take you through the exact same process through the API. Cool. Supabase row. Cool. And then once we get that, okay, cool. And then once we I'm also gonna grab my Open API key, so one second. Yeah, so the next thing you would do is just go to next thing you just you'd go to OpenAI, generate an API key, and that's where you will throw this in here. And now that all of those things are now installed, we'll be able to open our playground. Cool. And now that that's open, the next thing that we need to do is we'll need to actually, so that's the server that's running. And again, like I'm over explaining this just because I want myself a year ago to be able to understand. CD as to public, cool, and then CD region UI. Cool. So now we're in like the front end, the server, whatever. I don't need to go too deep into this stuff. But yeah, so here now I'm just gonna install dependencies for the front end. That's what this command does. It's gonna take a second. Cool. And now that we're there, npm run dev, and that basically opens up it on this port. Cool. Cool. So now that you're pulling up, cool. So here we are. So have the transcript agent. Again, like all of this is branded for Agno because they made this amazing. This is so, I love it so much. They made this. And then let's ask a question. And then this is basically just all around like the database that we just created in transcripts. So let's see. I can ask a question. What did the last call with origami talk about? Cool. Now you can see it's calling the tools it has access to. And yeah, it basically just like gives me a summary. And like that was really fast, right? Um, and then if you want to see like the cool part, like you can see the API calls to Supabase from here, and also how it's indexing, which is on this company domain. So like there are a few edge cases, right? Like if you're calling with people that have Gmails, that's like one thing to keep in mind. But we just have that so little that it's like something that we're willing to deal with. That's really the only limitation that I've experienced so far. But yeah, so like now you have this running, and you could ask it on all of this. This is going to be automatically populated, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And then also like the 8 other agents that I made, more than happy to like make tutorials on those, or just like open source my code to be honest. Um, but yeah, like this is obviously like a lot, and like getting this set up is like the most valuable agent that like we've at least encountered. So I just want to make sure that everyone's in like a good starting position. And if this is something that you want to like deploy for your whole team to have access to, the way that like I would do that is I have it listed in here, but basically like you upload this to your own repo, ship it to Vercel, ship the front end on Vercel, and then the back end we have hosted on Render. Um, and if you get to this point and you're encountering friction, more than happy to help out. Um, just yeah, shoot me a message. And yeah, like this was a lot of like painful stuff for me, and I spent like 40 to 50 hours building a lot of these agents over the last couple of weeks, just because again I was getting familiar with this framework, but it was like super worth it because it saves me a lot of time on a day to day. So yeah, cheers.